nothing that you do in the speedrun will be done casually, which makes it a little hard if you play the game normally and you're like, okay, let me see a run of this game. What's going on? And you're like, you can do that. Every other minute, you're like, what? Wait, what? You can do this? Well, like, what are they doing?
How's it going, everybody? Adrian here, and this is Bayonetta. Today I am talking to Reclaimer about the game's absolutely insane movement technology. Reclaimer is currently the world record holder for the game's main category. He's extremely passionate, super knowledgeable, and he continues to find new things in the game every single day. So he's going to tell us all about it. Let's dig into it.
There is 90 minutes of no downtime. I'm not kidding. That is the run. I'm mashing to try to get through menus faster. Even like shop trips, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. Equipping weapons, I am always pressing buttons for the whole run. It's bad for controller durability. I go through a controller maybe every 2 weeks. It sucks. The triggers get broken. I use the Power A controllers that are like $25. So they're cheap, but they feel the best because the buttons are raised. Having the raised buttons makes them easier to glide across, which is super important for a lot of my inputs. So Bayonetta is a subscription service game. Little did you know, it's kind of expensive. $40 a month is $50 a month is crazy, but it's worth it. The combat should just flow one combo to another. There should be no downtime. Every evade you should do is an animation cancel for an attack in your combo string. There should be no empty inputs, right? That's what I think the most important thing that has like shifted how the game has looked and felt and played from other runs to now. It's beautiful. It looks beautiful and it feels beautiful to play. It's like music, I guess you could say. Everything just flows together. One of the attacks that I do as a character, I play Jeanne instead of Bayonetta. She's a secondary character, which she does 50% more damage with Wicked Weaves, which are like combo finishers. It's the big hands, feet, and the big swords that you see in combat. So her combat is very efficient if you prioritize the big heavy attacks. Bayonetta is more bread and butter gameplay, where you're just using a standard combo chain like you would see like in a fighting game. It's just standard stuff. Jeanne is very specific combat. So learning Jeanne is way different than learning Bayonetta. They play completely differently in the speedrun. Jeanne has more movement capabilities because she has infinite dodges, which is a good thing. But the downside is to get witch time, you have to do it reactionarily. So you can only get witch time when you get hit. Then you evade. You can't preemptively evade. You have to do it as soon as you get hit. It's like 5 or 6 frames. Very, very small window. Jeanne, since she can infinitely evade, I can animation cancel the beginning of my attack. Bayonetta could only do that up to 5 times. Her 5th evade will be her exhaust evade. You can't move for like a second. My favorite part of the run is chapter 3, because that's after we complete our first shop trip. So then we have all of our movement options available through the rest of the run. I am effectively using a downward diagonal kick while locking on to inanimate objects like a pot, a bench, and other like just structural environment stuff to give myself momentum. And then I'm doing an attack to cancel out of when I would normally hit the object with my kick. And I carry that momentum constantly. You'll see me like flip. And I'm just storing that momentum and trying not to drop it. It's highly rhythmic based. I can immediately lose all my momentum if I am not on rhythm. So highly technical movement. It's absurd to just see a character just fly across the screen because I try to kick a pot. I don't know, man. It's so great. I love it. It's when the run starts to be so fun because there's so many possibilities. I'm discovering new stuff every single day. And I just recently found this a good 2 weeks ago. A lot of the movement stuff was never really experimented with. I made one discovery, which led to another discovery, which led to another discovery. And I've spent the last like 500 hours in game just testing stuff and just speedrunning various things. I'll play the beginning of a chapter like 20 times in a row, over and over and over, doing slightly different movement just to see what's going on. I did first find the major movement tech back in like October of last year, and coincidentally, I did a downward diagonal kick, which is an afterburner kick, into a Tetsuzanko, and I evaded after hitting an enemy, and I'm like, okay, I flew across the entire screen. The camera can't keep up. I'm like, okay, let me do that again. And I'm like, okay, I've seen other people do that before. That's not uncommon. But I started testing it out of combat. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So there's a big lava skip, a big gigantic lava lake in chapter 3 at the very end. Before we would just use stiletto, which is just like a forward punch. It maintains our vertical positioning, we just move horizontally. It's very slow, it takes like 30 seconds to traverse the entire lava lake. I was like, okay, I can try to use afterburner kick with the Tetsuzanko and evade out of it with the only character that has infinite evades, Jean. And I tested that and I'm like, okay, I can clear this in 12 seconds. What? This is insane. It's highly rhythmic to make sure I don't lose my momentum, but it is a lot more forgiving than the new technique that I'm doing now, which is evading out of a stiletto. Man, there's just so many movement potential options that are available now, and I just found this 2 weeks ago. So, who knows what I'll find. I spent an entire week, every day come home from work, stay up till 2 a.m., go to work tired, it's fine, whatever. This is more important, right? I spent countless hours just trying to perfect the movement that I just discovered with the downward afterburner kick into a stiletto, and then evading out of that. Because the other movement we were doing with afterburner kick and Tetsuzanko, it would hit an enemy with the Wicked Weave and then slow you down. So you couldn't do it around enemies. This one you can do anywhere, at any point, for any reason at all, because there's no projectile being launched. So, oh boy. Yeah, I actually, and it's kind of bad, I drink Bangs. They're really good. It's a energy drink with 300 milligrams of caffeine. If I'm committing like a day on my weekend, a Saturday, Sunday, I'm drinking a Bang. There is no downtime. So I spend a few hours practicing, and then I get into a run. It's kind of impossible to just get into a run without warm-up. Warm-up is required, otherwise I'm just not doing the right attacks at the right times, and then combat is just not working out as intended. And then that completely changes the dynamic of how combat goes because I miss certain damage timers. It's a pain. I won't lie. So there are certain notes that I'm trying to hit within combat and during the run when it comes to like certain speed benchmarks. If I don't hit those benchmarks, it's like, well, I'm not practicing meaningful practice. That's good. It's bad practice, actually. It's detrimental. I keep finding so much stuff, more efficiencies, more optimizations. As of right now, I'm the most active runner, so I'm the resource. But go to the Bayonetta Speedrun Discord. That is the best place to go.